it's Lindy from Stitch and Lindy. I am doing another recipe. This is another one from Yum and Yummer. So this is the book if anybody hasn't seen it. And it is sold at WW Centers. I've seen it at Costco, Walmart, Loblaws, and Amazon. I'm pretty sure, and Chapters. This is where my husband got me this, is from Chapters. So the recipe tonight I am doing is the quinoa and sweet potato skillet meal. It looks delicious. So I'm testing this out. We're going along in this recipe together. So let's try this out. So the very first thing that it calls for is 1 tablespoon of olive oil. I'm using my Pam spray. So I checked in the WW app to point out this recipe, and it says 8 points a serving, and it makes 4 meal servings, so that's 8 points if you get 4 meal servings, or you can also get 6 side dish servings out of this. So your 6, just make sure that you're changing your points if you are getting 6 instead of the 4. So, but with 4 servings, it is 8 points each. So to this, I'm going to add, it calls for 1 cup of chopped onions. I just chopped up a whole onion, so adding that in. And today I'm actually, instead of using quinoa, I'm using millet. So I don't know if anybody else has tried millet, but millet is something that is just like quinoa. We actually got it because my husband picked it up by accident. Just adding a little bit of salt to my onions to bring out the natural moisture in them. Okay, so I'm just sauteing my onions. And then the next thing we're going to, I wanted to show you the millet. So this is the millet. This is just the Rooster brand from Superstore I got. So it looks just like millet. It might actually even be smaller. No, it's probably the same size. And same point wise. I actually think millet might actually have more protein in it than quinoa. I can't remember though. To that it says to add 2 teaspoons of garlic. I actually don't have any fresh garlic. I gotta grab some, so I'm gonna add in some garlic powder just when we actually get our quinoa in. And it says to chop up 1 small jalapeno. I don't do hot, so I'm leaving that out. So, and then to that, 2 cups of peeled cubed sweet potatoes. I actually cubed up and peeled 2 sweet potatoes, so I just added those, probably more than 2 cups, but I just had 2 on hand, so I wanted to use them up. So we're going to heat the olive oil in the skillet, add the onions, garlic, and jalapeno if using. Cook and stir until onions are tender, about 3 minutes, and then you're going to add the sweet potatoes. So we're just going to cook our onions until they're about translucent, and then we will add our sweet potatoes. So this is our first week trying out some vegan meals. I don't know if anybody else watched the Game Changer documentary. I actually just watched it this morning. My husband watched this last week and he's all about wanting to try this, so we're giving this a try. So this is my first week trying some vegan dinners. I'm slowly trying to get some breakfast. I'm actually going to try some different recipes, which I actually might record another one for my breakfast after this. I'm gonna test out maybe a chia. Is it chia or chai? I don't know. Anyways, chia pudding. So that is my next recipe I'm gonna try, which I will be meal prepping for my breakfast. So stay tuned for that recipe. Another thing I wanted to mention was with this recipe, it did say to make sure that you are cooking in a deep skillet. So it doesn't have to be too big, but as long as it's deep. So deeper than a frying pan. But so far, my energy level is great. There are a couple things that I'm still kind of tweaking. I had some overnight oats that I wanted to eat up, so that I still had my yogurt in it. So I ate up those, so now I can move on, and that's why I wanted to make the chia pudding so that I have that for breakfast. And there's so many recipes for the chia pudding on Pinterest, so I'm going to be experimenting with those. And your system, it cycles properly, and I've slept amazing. I've wanted to go to bed earlier instead of staying up later. I've slept amazing. I haven't woke up with a headache so far. Again, this is only 2 days into this, and have only focused on my dinners. So just this small change has already helped. So I'm really liking these meals. My husband's saying that he loves these meals so far. So so far it's going good. I'm getting a lot of tips. I'm very happy with the outpouring support that I'm getting from everybody. A lot of people are just giving me tons of tips, suggestions on things that I can use for substituting for butter. So today I actually picked up some Basil vegan. So this is my first buy. I actually got this because I saw it at Sobeys. It was only $3.99. There was quite a few people that actually recommended I think it's Earth Balance is what it's called. I found it at Sobeys, but it was $6.99, which I know this stuff is going to be a bit more expensive, but I can't justify paying $6.99 for a thing of butter. We actually don't use much butter, so that's why I just grabbed this, because in some recipes I'm going to need it. So our onions are cooked now, so I'm just going to add in the sweet potato. So I'm adding this in raw. These are just peeled and cubed. Okay, so that's 2 sweet potatoes and 1 onion. And then to that I'm going to add in, this is calling for chili powder. I actually don't have chili powder, so I'm using the Tex-Mex. I actually meant to go to Bulk Barn and grab some chili powder because we always use it. So, okay, I'm getting a tablespoon of chili powder or Tex-Mex. It's the same flavoring. Okay, so 1 tablespoon. And then I'm going to add cumin. 2 teaspoons of cumin. And this was the one flavor that I was worried about, because I'm not a curry fan, so this is really close to curry for me, but the last meal that we made, I didn't mind it, so it was okay. It asked for coriander. I don't have coriander. And then paprika. We're going to add paprika, half a teaspoon of paprika. And you can also add cayenne if you wanted to. I'm not, because I don't want it spicy. So half a teaspoon of paprika. And you're going to mix that well. So tons of flavoring in this. And I can't stress enough how much the flavor profiles are amazing in these recipes. It's so many spices that you add to these, but it works so well because you want to eat this food that's going to taste good, right? Okay, so now you're going to stir in tomatoes with their liquid. So you're adding 1 can. They call for fire roasted diced tomatoes with the liquid, but I grabbed just the Unico diced tomatoes. So I'm adding the whole can of that. This smells so good. I don't know, this pan might not, I actually added more sweet potato than what the recipe called for. I actually think 1 sweet potato was probably 2 cups. but I had them there, so I used them up. Okay. And then we are adding in the broth and quinoa. So the broth we're adding is 1.5 cups of vegetable broth. And I just get the no name. They didn't have the low sodium. I normally grab the low sodium, but Superstore was actually out of all broths this week. So I actually got the last 2 that was in the store. So you're adding 1.5 cups of broth. Okay. And then you're going to add to that the quinoa, which is 1 cup of quinoa. So I'm going to add 1 cup of millet. And it says you're going to bring this mixture to a boil, reduce the heat low and simmer and cover for 15 to 20 minutes. So I'm just going to bring this to a boil, and then I will cover the pan and let it simmer for 20 minutes. And then I will be back to show you how everything's looking. Okay, we are back. This took a lot longer to cook than I expected, and even what the book says. The sweet potato, if I do this again, I'm going to cook the sweet potato beforehand because it takes a long time for the sweet potato to cook, and then your quinoa starts sticking to the bottom. So I would suggest cooking your sweet potato before you start this recipe. To this, so all of my quinoa has absorbed the liquid and the sweet potato are finally soft. So I'm adding 1 cup of black beans. These are drained and rinsed. And then I'm going to add 1 can of whole kernel corn. And you're just going to mix this together. So obviously you need a really big pot for this. I could have used a bigger pan. And then the recipe just says to take this off the heat, cover it, and let it stand for 10 minutes. And it says letting it stand for 10 minutes is a very important step. So I guess it just completes cooking the potatoes and the quinoa, I guess. I don't know. So that is it. So I am going to cover this up, take it off the heat, and I'm going to let this sit for 10 minutes. And then I'll be back to show you what it looks like when it's completed. All right, we are done. So I let it sit, it simmered, the potatoes cooked, and we've now topped it with some avocado and tomato. So there it is. The recipe actually says that you can get 4 main dishes out of this or 6 side. This is a huge portion and there's still lots left. Like I'd say probably 3 more portions, maybe even more that you can get. So this is actually, I think, a lot less than 8 points. So I'll recheck it and let you know what the points are. But if you do like this recipe, give me a thumbs up. Again, it is from the Yum and Yummer recipe book. So check out the recipe book. I'll put the link below for the Yum and Yummer cookbook if anybody's interested on Amazon. You can also get it at Chapters and I think Walmart even. Or even WW centers do carry it as well. But I will double check the points on this and I'll let you know at the end. And subscribe if you haven't subscribed, and tap the bell button if you want any notifications of new videos posting. Thanks for watching.